Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. It's Naturally Mar. We're here to review episode 2 of Put a Ring on It. Now, before we start, please ensure that you hit that like button. Also, hit that subscribe button so that you can get my videos and tap that notification bell so you get instant notifications once a video is dropped. Now, we start back with Darian trying to decide whether he wants to go on this date. We all know he wants to go on this second date. Anyhow, he finally says it, yes, that he wants to go on a second date with Kai. Now, Alexia isn't too happy. She feels that if he keeps going on these dates with the same person, it's more like a relationship. Now, in the confessionals, you see Eric saying, leave Kai where she's at. You're damaging those 14 years. And Jessica says, those 14 years are already damaged. Now, Dr. Nicole chimes in and she says, can you give him enough space for this process? And Alexia basically says, he can have all the space that he wants. Now, Dr. Nicole's like, you're being a little bit defensive. You know, you guys need to give each other the room to grow through this process. Darian feels that these dates are tools to tighten up their relationship. Nah. I think Darian just wants to continue dating other people. We'll see. Dr. Nicole asks all the guys if they're ready for the ladies now to go on their dates. Now, Eric and Sean aren't ready for it. They don't want their ladies actually going on a date. However, Darian has an opposite view. He wants Alexia to go on the dates. He wants her to see how it felt to go on a date with somebody else and what will happen, you know, while she's out there. So we get to see Jessica now strutting down the stairs in her tight yellow dress, ready for her date. Eric doesn't seem very pleased at all and throws comments like, oh, you're doing a little much for your little date. And Jessica's just like, so you can't say that don't I look pretty? And Eric basically gives her advice because she asks him, do you have any advice for me for my date? And he's like, just say no. Just say no. Say no to everything. Now the doorbell rings. We see Randon, who calls himself Mr. Steal Your Girl, come to the house. And Eric goes downstairs to answer. And he's like, who is it? Randon repeated his name about 3 times. And then Eric finally opens the door and he was just like, who are you here for? And he's like, I'm here for Jessica. And Eric was like, you have the wrong house. Closes the door and starts to walk back upstairs. Well, Jessica was just like, Eric, answer the door. I'm going to go downstairs. Eric goes back downstairs, lets Randon upstairs. Jessica seems to think his jealous behavior is kind of cute because he doesn't really do this. It's not really cute. It's not something that you're going to like if that continues, right? Now, they leave and they go to their date, some restaurant that they go to have drinks and eat. And Randon, starts asking, how long have you been together? And she says, we've been together for 4 years, but he would say 3. Basically, he didn't claim you till 1 year of getting with you, and then he claimed you. So that's why he says 3. Anyhow, he, they are talking about their relationships, and he basically told her, well, you know what? If it was me, I would have proposed for you to be my girlfriend. And Jessica states that in their relationship, trust is an issue. Now, Randon is 32. He has no kids, but he's also never been in love or ever really had a serious committed relationship like a girlfriend. I don't see that really going anywhere between him and Jessica. Next, we get to Alexia and Darian. Now, Darian sees Alexia and he's like, oh, you look really nice. Nice to give her a compliment. And she's just like, basically, oh, this little thing, like this regular outfit. Just take the compliment and say thank you. Anyhow, Alexia hopes that her date is not a fan of Darian. Come on, not everybody knows who your man is. I didn't know who your man was. Anyhow, Chris comes to the house. He's 41. I didn't like his beard very much. However, he arrives in a mask. Now, he's a personal trainer. So for their date, they go to a batting cage. And I think this makes Alexia a little bit more comfortable because she is within this, she used to be a basketball player, and get her to feel a little more comfortable opening up. Now, as they're finished playing, Chris asks her about, tell me about yourself. And she keeps talking about her, but then also talking about Darian. No, he wants to know about you. He doesn't want to know about your man. He's trying to get to know who you are as a person. Anyways, she also asks Chris a question about, what he's like, and about him, not if he's in a relationship, and he just says he wants to be, aligned with someone before he actually gets committed into a relationship. I would really like to see a guy bring Alexia out of her shell, to see her actually have fun, to enjoy this process as much as her man is. Next up is LaRonda and Sean. They get a house call from Dr. Nicole. Now they talk about, where they're at within this process. They did discussing that they were talking about their finances and how they manage each other. They actually keep things separate, which is, common. Most couples will, they're not married yet. A lot of couples will keep things separate. He manages his bills, she manages hers. And I think he also does that because he's not confident when it comes to finances and the amount of money he makes, because it's very inconsistent. Him being an entertainer, he doesn't have the constant or the bi-weekly income per se. He's not making anything like that. So for him, when he's not working, he feels like a bum. He feels worthless. And I think that Sean, separate from him and LaRonda maybe getting their couple therapy, he needs to get his own therapy, to go through his own trauma that is holding him back, because he has trauma from how his parents were in their relationship, which I would, like to see them get a little deeper in, but he needs to have his own therapy to resolve that, because I think that is one of the main things holding back the relationship. Okay, so we get to LaRonda's date, which is the next day, and we see that her date is named John. He's a 36, a singer-songwriter, and I don't see him as being any competition for Sean. Not at all. Now, when he comes to the door, he basically greets Sean, peace and blessings. So Sean looks like he's going to have a breakdown. And once they leave, he starts, exercising to trying to get his mind off the things. It seems like it's going to be really hard for them as LaRonda is out on this date. So for their date, it looks like they've gone to Cynthia Bailey's wine cellar, which is quite kind of cool. Now, they, have, some wine. There's a cheese cracker spread, and then they decide to do a little challenge, and LaRonda is very playful, so I know she doesn't mind, a little game, little challenge. And they basically do a grape catching test, and which is it was very nice to see her have a little bit of fun. And then he claims that, they're talking about what he does, and he says, he sings, and he actually wrote a song for her, and he starts to sing it. Now we see that Sean really can't handle the stress that LaRonda is on this date. And he ends up calling a friend to discuss, what's going on, to kind of ease his nerves. And he breaks down crying. Lord have mercy. He needs some real help. The group then meets again with Dr. Nicole, and the ladies discuss their dates. Alexia liked that her date let her talk, and she explains that, it was a good experience for her overall. And, one night she was claiming that her and Darian actually ended up spending the night talking from like 12 a.m. to 7 a.m. And it was really refreshing, to feel that connection again, for them just to be able to sit down and talk to each other. Darian feels that the old Alexia and Darian are back. We'll see. Now, Jessica says, she was, Jessica had a good time on her date, said her date was cool, and says that, her relationship with Eric is really built on distrust. And Dr. Nicole was just like, if you guys are really serious, are those behaviors really helping, or are they hurting? Like, how are you going to be building a foundation on distrust? LaRonda say that she had a great time. Sean said he couldn't handle it. Of course, we saw that. He actually made himself sick. And Dr. Nicole says that Sean is missing the picture. That is, he doesn't want to turn into his, and now LaRonda had a great time, she said. Sean, not so much. Sean made himself sick. The fact that he couldn't deal with the LaRonda being out on a date with somebody else, which is very concerning. And Dr. Nicole says that, he's missing out on the picture of what that could be for them, what he can learn from the process. And he broke down crying because he doesn't want to turn into his dad, and it was a very emotional scene. You even see Alexia starting to tear up about the whole situation as well. Now, none of the ladies actually want a second date with any of the guys that they went out with. I didn't see Jessica wanting the second date from her guy because she knew he wasn't really about anything. And LaRonda, she had a good time. I think she did have a good time. She probably could have gone on a second date. However, she's seeing how the emotional Sean is when she's going out on a date. And I don't think she wants to chance going on a second date with the same person. Alexia had, enjoyed her date, but she didn't want to go on a second one with the same person either. Next week is going to be very interesting because everybody is going to be going on a date. They're all going to be going to the same place for the date as well. So we'll see what happens with that. That sounds a little messy, but I'm here for it. Anyhow, guys, thank you for joining my channel, and I'll see you next time.